A father walks down basement stairs in his own home. He's been searching for hours. The sun is setting outside. His flashlight cuts through the darkness. He opens a door to a small room. And there she is. His 6-year-old daughter. Cold. Still. Gone. He picks her up. Carries her upstairs. Lays her on the floor. And in that single moment of grief, that instinctive act of a broken father, he destroys the last chance of ever knowing what happened. What no one realized yet was that this crime scene had been contaminating itself since sunrise. Her name is JonBenét. 6 years old with blonde curls and bright eyes. She loves performing, pageants, singing, dancing in front of audiences. Her laugh fills rooms. Her family adores her. On Christmas night, she goes to bed in her own room, in her own house, surrounded by people who love her. She should have been safe. But somewhere between midnight and dawn, everything changes. The mother wakes early. She walks downstairs. On the spiral staircase, she finds papers. 3 pages. Handwritten. A ransom note. She starts reading. "We have your daughter." Her screams wake the house. The father runs down. They read it together. The note demands $118,000, exactly the amount of his recent bonus. It threatens their daughter's life. It warns them not to call police. But what no one realizes is that the words on these pages will become more important than anyone standing in that house. The mother calls 911 at 5:52 a.m. Police arrive 6 minutes later. They walk into what they believe is a kidnapping. The officer does a quick sweep of the house. He even opens the basement door, peers into darkness, sees nothing, closes it, moves on. The house fills with people, friends, family, victim advocates, a pastor. They make coffee. They comfort the parents. They walk through rooms, touch surfaces, move objects, wait for a call from kidnappers who will never phone. What seemed insignificant at the time was that every person in that house was erasing evidence. Hours pass. No call comes. The detective asks the father to search the house again, just to be thorough. A family friend goes with him. They walk to the basement, open the door to a small wine cellar. The father sees a white blanket. He knows. Before he even moves it, he knows. He pulls back the blanket. His daughter is there. Duct tape across her mouth. A cord around her neck. He tears off the tape. Picks her up. Carries her upstairs. Lays her in the front hallway. The family friend tries CPR even though it's far too late. Police arrive and freeze. The crime scene, if it could even be called that anymore, is gone. Contaminated beyond recovery. But the most important detail hadn't surfaced yet. The crime happened in the basement, right below where her parents slept. Between midnight and 6 a.m. No one heard her scream. No one heard her struggle. No signs of forced entry. No footprints in the snow outside. No stranger tracked through that house. The ransom note sits on the kitchen counter, 2.5 pages long. Most ransom notes are short. Rushed. This one is practiced. Almost performative. Written on paper from inside the house. With a pen from inside the house. Returned to its place after writing. The handwriting looks familiar to investigators. Looping. Feminine. Nothing about this makes sense as a kidnapping. But what it suggests instead is something no one wants to consider. The autopsy reveals the timeline. A head injury came first, a massive skull fracture. It likely rendered her unconscious immediately. Then, up to an hour later, strangulation. The ligature around her neck was sophisticated. A garrote. Made from a paintbrush broken in 3 pieces. 1 piece still in the mother's art supplies. 2 pieces used in the device. Someone stayed with her body. For an hour. In that basement. Then staged it. Then wrote a novel of a ransom note. Then placed her in the wine cellar. Then went upstairs. And waited for morning. The investigation fractures immediately. The Boulder Police Department has never handled a child murder. They treat the parents as victims. Then as suspects. Then as victims again. The DA's office believes the family is innocent. Police believe otherwise. They focus on the mother, her handwriting can't be excluded from the note. They focus on the father, he found the body. They focus on the 9-year-old brother, some investigators believe a child could have caused the head injury. But they can't prove anything. The evidence is contaminated. The crime scene was walked through by a dozen people. The body was moved. Surfaces were cleaned. Memories are conflicting. Every answer creates 5 new questions. DNA is found on her underwear. Male DNA. Unknown profile. It doesn't match anyone in the family. It doesn't match anyone in the database. Police argue it could be from the manufacturing process. Touch DNA. Irrelevant. But what if it isn't? What no one realized yet was that this DNA would become the most important evidence in the entire case. Years pass. The family is formally cleared in 2008 based on DNA evidence. But the case remains open. Theories multiply. The internet creates armies of amateur detectives. Everyone has a suspect. Everyone has a theory. The family hires lawyers. Files defamation suits. Lives under suspicion for decades. The mother dies in 2006, still defending herself. The father continues fighting for answers. The brother sues CBS for $750 million over a documentary that implied his involvement. They settle. But still, no arrest. No charges. No justice. Here's what investigators know about crime scenes. The first hours are everything. Evidence degrades. Memories change. Contamination spreads. You get one chance. In this case, that chance vanished the moment police treated a murder scene like a kidnapping waiting room. The detective who let people walk freely through the house carries that weight. The officer who looked in the basement but didn't enter carries that weight. The father who moved his daughter's body carries that weight. None of them meant to destroy the investigation. But they did. One decision led to another. A chain of consequences no one could stop. But here's what changed. DNA technology evolves. What was impossible in 1996 becomes routine by 2024. The Boulder Police Department sends evidence to a private lab. Genetic genealogy. The same technology that caught the Golden State Killer. The same technology that solved hundreds of cold cases. They are building a DNA profile from the male DNA found on her clothing. Not just matching it to a database, but tracing it through family trees. Finding distant relatives. Narrowing down suspects generation by generation. The father, now in his 80s, advocates publicly. He appears in a new Netflix documentary. He pushes Boulder police to use every available technology. In late 2024, police confirmed they're actively working with advanced DNA labs. They're pursuing new leads. They're not giving up. What seemed like a permanently cold case is warming. 28 years have passed since that Christmas night. The crime scene that destroyed itself may finally yield its secrets. Not through detective work. Not through interrogations. But through science that didn't exist when she died. The DNA on her clothing is being analyzed with technology that can identify a suspect's great-great-grandparents. That can narrow down a suspect pool to a single family. That can point investigators directly to a name. Boulder police have made it clear, they believe this case can be solved. They're working with genetic genealogy experts. They are re-examining evidence with fresh eyes and new tools. They are following leads that weren't possible a decade ago. The father believes he'll live to see justice. The internet still argues. The theories still multiply. But the science doesn't argue. DNA doesn't theorize. It identifies. And somewhere in a laboratory right now, analysts are building a family tree from molecules left on a 6-year-old girl's clothing. They're tracking backwards through generations. They're closing in. The case that seemed unsolvable because of one morning's mistakes may be solved despite them. Not because the crime scene was perfect, but because one piece of evidence survived. One profile remained. One chance still exists. JonBenét Ramsey deserves justice. Her family deserves answers. And after nearly 3 decades, the technology finally exists to give them both. The crime scene destroyed itself. But the killer left something behind anyway. And that something is about to speak.